Okay, so there's this thing about a type of beetle in Australia that's really interesting that illustrates the nature of our reality. So for millions of years, this one male jewel beetle had just one job: find a female and mate, of course. It's always the goal, especially with animals. And to do that, they didn't need to understand the entire world. They didn't need to understand anything. Evolution gave them this shortcut, this simple rule, all they had to follow. If they saw something that was big and brown and shiny and dimpled, that was a female, go for it. That's all you need to know. And so for ages, this simple thing worked perfectly for them until something different showed up in their environment, which was beer bottles. So when they would come across a beer bottle, which were bigger, shinier, and more dimpled than any female beetle they'd ever even seen, suddenly they abandoned all the real females and they started mating with the bottles, which of course does not work. They clung to them, they're trying to mate with them. Even as females are walking by them, they were completely distracted, thought they were doing their job, and so then their population, of course, plummets, and they're on the edge of extinction, and not because they lack the desire exactly, but because their perception system is too simple, it's too easy to fool. So evolution did not do the best job here. It optimizes for good enough survival hacks, right? And the beetle's perception system, it was too simple and it was easily hijacked. Well, this illustrates our own senses and how they may be oversimplified and not tuned for truth, and that we could be also misled if we mistake them for reality. So what looks like seeing reality is really just some shortcut survival strategy that we've developed, and our shortcuts fail when our environment changes, when things upset things, and that story holds up a mirror. We like to think that we're seeing reality as it is, that our senses show us the truth of the world, but we're no different than a beetle. We're just working off of these shortcuts, trying to evolve everything as a survival tactic. And we have these quick, simplified rules that are just good enough to keep our species alive. So think of it this way. Whenever you use your computer, you see these icons and folders on the screen, and you don't really see all the back things, the electrical currents that are moving, etc. And so that interface hides the truth so that you are able to function within that. So our senses work the same way. Sight, sound, touch, same thing. They're a survival interface. They're useful, but not necessarily accurate. So we are also adaptive. We're controlled by these cues that are just about survival. Our perception is shaped by evolution to favor survival-friendly cues, not the truth, not reality. So the beetle's tragedy shows us the cost of mistaking that interface for reality. It's a simple formula that worked until that environment changed, then it became a trap for them. And that raises a question for us. What are our bottles? What illusions are we chasing? What things are we believing are real when in fact they are just symbols that evolution has handed us? So what we call reality, it isn't reality at all. It's just the version that our biology will let us see.